Hi guys. I know a lot of people who are trying to get prepared always come up with the same problem. They don't have enough money. That's always a problem. When you really want to get prepared, anyone can come up with a lot of things that they want to do to be more prepared. But the one problem that's usually stopping people is money. Some people have space issues or time issues, but usually the big problem is money. So what I have is a list of 6 things, I think, or a few things, however many it is, that you can do to be more prepared, and they're all totally free. I'll probably come back later with a list of things that you can do for $1, $5, or $10 maybe, but all these on this list are completely free. Some of them are more behaviors that you can start doing. Some of them are actual tasks, but all of them are totally free, and all of them will help you to be more prepared. Number 1, get in shape. There's almost no scenario that you can come up with, even if it's something as simple as losing your job, a power outage, a hurricane, anything you come up with, from the most simple to the most extreme, like a meteor just crashing into the planet and everyone's going crazy. All of them will be benefited, or you will be benefited by being in better shape. It's better for your health. It's better for any task or work that you might have to do. It's just better. And that's even if nothing happens, it's better. A lot of the things that go into being prepared will make your life better regardless of if something happens or not. And that's the kind of things that we're really aiming for. So basically, just start some sort of training program, whether it just be running a few times a week, doing push-ups and sit-ups, or to as hardcore as you can get. Obviously, I recommend more, the more training the better. So I recommend training as much as possible in physical fitness and anything like that you can do. You can do a lot of this stuff on your own. There's people who have YouTube channels dedicated to training plans, stuff you can come up with on your own, just TV shows, you can, whatever. But that's stuff you can do, bodyweight exercises, running. You don't need to spend any money on it. Just start doing something now. Don't wait and say, oh, as soon as I get up some money, I'll join a gym or whatever. Just start doing something now. It might not be the best thing you can do, but it's better than doing nothing. Number 2 is if you drive around, which most people do, to and from work or whatever, always keep your gas tank at least above a quarter tank. I recommend keeping it above a half a tank, but that's difficult for some people. But never let it go below a quarter tank, because you never know when something happens, you might not be able to get to the gas station. And especially if you have to commute any reasonable distance to your job, always have at least enough to make a there and back trip, whether that be a half tank or whatever, because you don't want to get stuck in a position where you can't get to home or can't get to work if you need to for some reason. You basically want to at least have a quarter tank, and that can solve a lot of problems, whether it just be something simple like you're driving down the road and the gas station you thought you were going to is all of a sudden closed, or there's a hurricane and everyone left town and you just need some gas. So always have a quarter tank if possible, and I would aim for a half tank. I actually carry around extra gas in my car, but like I said, that's not free. You do have to pay for it, pay for the gas can. So at least keeping it above a quarter tank or a half tank gives you that leeway in case something happens. You can at least get home, and that's what you're aiming for. Number 3 is to start a compost pile. You may not be, if you live somewhere where you can, obviously. If you're in an apartment or a condo, it may be difficult. You can try to start a little bin if you have a porch or something for some container gardening. But if you have the room, especially in a yard, start a compost pile. Anything that's anything that was plant matter at one point, vegetables, even bread and stuff like that, anything can go in a compost pile like that is a plant product. You can even put small amounts of paper and stuff like that in there, especially if it's shredded up, but I wouldn't overdo it with the paper because it'll build up pretty quickly and then it won't be composted properly. Just find a corner of your yard. If you don't have an old trash can, which is good, or an old Rubbermaid bin or something like that you can use, some buckets, a barrel. If you don't have anything like that, just literally start a pile. You can even put down some cardboard or something, some few layers of cardboard, so that the plants underneath it don't start growing up through it. That'll kill them. And then just start a pile. Maybe fence it off with something if you have anything lying around. Even use a cardboard box, which will itself eventually break down, but then you'll have a compost pile there, and you can use that to grow some food, hopefully, which is the long-term goal, obviously. And that's another thing you should start prepare for. If you have the space set up, even if you don't have the tools or anything yet, find out where you want to put it. Start roping off the area. Like I said, you can lay down cardboard and stuff to kill, or plastic to kill the grass that's in that location for your garden. But right away you can start the compost pile. Almost anyone has some refuse that can go into a compost pile, at some point. Whether it's banana peels, bread crusts, watermelon rinds, orange peels, just anything like that, salad, like mixes maybe that you didn't eat in time and it's gotten a little slimy. Just put all that stuff on there. Even something like old pasta or bread, put that stuff on there too. What I do recommend is if you have foods like pasta or something like that, or maybe like oatmeal that you ate and you didn't finish, if it's a processed food sort of like that, cover it with some grass clippings or something, or maybe some shredded paper so that the bugs and stuff don't get to it as much. It's not too much of a problem with the straight vegetable matter and plant matter. You will get a few flies, but it's not too bad. But you don't want to get mold and maggots. I don't recommend putting meat or animal products on for that reason, because it really stinks and it really attracts flies. But just any plant product, pretty much anything that was made from a plant, you can put on there. And that'll go a long way in helping you prepare for some container gardening or even a full garden. Number 4 is learn about edible plants that are in your area. Unless you're in downtown New York City, most places have some sort of plants around them. Go online. Obviously, if you're watching this, you have internet access, so you can go online and look at the region and look at edible plants that are in that region. And don't just look at it online. Go out, find some examples of it, try it out. Rinse it off and then eat it and try it out. Because once you have that experience and that knowledge, even if you haven't been able to store up a lot of food, that's something that you can do in an emergency. As soon as you realize that, hey, you may be needing some food, you can go out. You've seen where these things are. You know how to recognize them now. You can go out there and start collecting this up, or at least get a few meals out of it. And you'll be more prepared because of that, even if it's only a few days worth of food. But knowledge like that will help you be more prepared. Number 5 is to keep your money in cash, or at least some of it. I can't tell you how many times people that I've been with, even at something like a McDonald's or something, and they go up there and the credit card machine is broken and they don't even have $1 of cash in their wallet, and now they can't get food. That's not a big deal. They just go somewhere else, but that just kind of illustrates how helpless you are if for some reason your card gets damaged, electricity goes out, any number of things can happen to where you can't access your card. From the most simple, like it's isolated to that particular restaurant or your card, to the extreme, like power goes out across the whole country, or bank runs or bank holidays or whatever you want to call it, and you can't access that, and you still need to buy something. So I recommend keeping your emergency fund in mostly cash. I recommend everyone should have an emergency fund of some amount, like $1,000. I would keep almost all of that in cash at your house, and I try to carry around at least about $80 to $100 in cash and not use it. I always use my card. There's nothing wrong with that. Just I always keep the cash and don't use it just in case I need it because the card doesn't work. So there's certainly nothing wrong with the debit cards and things like that. That technology is extremely convenient, but you can't count on it. You can't count on your family's safety and your well-being because of and you can't let it rely on things like that. So always carry a little bit of cash around, or at least have it at your house. I would suggest actually carrying some with you. You can hide it in the back part of your wallet or something. You don't have to have it out there, because there is some risk involved with carrying cash around, but I definitely suggest having a lot of it. Now, obviously, this doesn't cost any money to start doing this, but you do have to have a little bit of money. Obviously, I hope some people have. I hope you have some money, but so start carrying whatever money you have in cash, at least some of it, so you can avoid these problems. And the number 6 and the main thing that you can do to be more prepared without spending any money is plan. And this is so important. And I'm going to go into this later in a different video about preparation, having preparations versus being prepared, but I just wanted to mention it briefly here. Having a plan is the most important thing you can do, and it's totally free. Think about what you're worried about, what types of things could happen. Decide what you want to be able to have to be prepared for that. You don't have to have it now, but just decide what you want, what level of preparedness you want to be, and then decide how you're going to get there. Work backwards from that. Okay, if I want a homestead in, Kentucky, what do I need? Okay, I'm going to need this much money, or I'm going to need to save up this much per month to get there, or acquire these specific things. Come up with a specific plan. If you just sit here waiting for the day that, like the one day that I'm going to do these things to be prepared, it's never going to happen. You have to break it down into specific steps. And don't only plan for what you want to accomplish, but plan for what you can do now. Plan so, okay, if these things that I'm worried about happen tomorrow, what am I going to do about it? Come up with your plan for that, too. So planning makes a huge difference, because you can have, and like I said, I'll go into this more in another video, but you can have all sorts of gear and supplies and locations, but if you haven't planned on how to use it, something's going to come up behind you and you're not going to be ready for it, and you're going to be just as bad off as everyone else, because you're either not going to know how to use your gear, it's not going to be ready for you to use, you're not going to know where it is, or you're not going to be able to get to it if you do know where it is, and just all sorts of problems can arise from you not having a solid plan. So it's the number one most important thing you can do to prepare, and it's totally free to start coming up with your plan. So that's all I got now. I hope those 6 things will help you to become more prepared, all totally free. And if you thought those are some good ideas, you can rate and comment below. List some more things in the comments of free things that you can do to be prepared. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll talk to you later.